Buckle up, space enthusiasts. We're diving headfirst into the thrilling world of space exploration in 2025.
Yeah, it's the new year.
And the competition is really heating up out there.
It is.
And we've got familiar players like NASA,
Of course.
but we also have some seriously ambitious newcomers
Right.
like SpaceX and Blue Origin.
Absolutely.
So whether you're prepping for that big meeting or just can't get enough of the cosmos,
Yeah.
we're going to cut through all the hype
We're right to the good stuff.
and give you the inside scoop on what's really happening out there.
The real deal, yeah. It's a pretty amazing time to be following space, when you say. I mean, there's so much going on.
Oh, absolutely.
It seems like there's just this renewed energy
Totally.
and a whole lot of ambition, you know?
Yeah, and speaking of ambition, let's kick things off with something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction.
Okay, hit me.
NASA's plan to bring Martian samples back to Earth.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's a big one.
Huge.
I mean, can you imagine the kind of scientific discoveries
Right.
that are going to be waiting for us when we can finally analyze Martian soil and rock in our own labs?
Oh, yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. It's incredible. But, you know, getting those samples back, that's no easy feat.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's a massive challenge.
Absolutely.
In and of itself, isn't it? Think about it.
Yeah.
You have to launch from Mars, rendezvous with another spacecraft in Martian orbit, and then safely land those precious, precious samples back here on Earth.
Right.
It's just a testament to how complex
Oh, yeah.
and interconnected space travel really is. It's incredible.
And I was reading that they're actually considering 2 different mission designs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and each one has its own, advantages and challenges.
Yeah.
So one of them uses this
Familiar.
the sky crane method.
Well, right, like with Curiosity.
Yeah, exactly. The one they used to land the Curiosity rover.
Yeah, so basically it uses like a rocket-powered platform to just gently lower the sample container to the surface.
Okay, and what's the other option?
Well, the other option is pretty wild, actually. They're thinking about utilizing SpaceX's Starship.
Wow, that's the one that's meant for deep space travel, right?
That's the one, and it has significantly larger cargo capabilities, so, more samples.
Oh, interesting. So SpaceX could potentially play a key role in this Mars sample return mission. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, right?
Huge. It's a real shift from the old days when space exploration was solely the domain of government agencies, like just NASA,
And now we're seeing all these private companies stepping up.
Yeah. It's a fascinating shift, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And speaking of SpaceX...
Uh-oh, what have they done now?
Well, their Starship is actually scheduled for another test flight today.
No way, really?
January 13th, 2025.
Today? Wow.
And for this one, they're aiming to deploy 10 mock satellites into orbit.
10?
10. So that would be a major step
towards
making those operational flights a reality.
Wow, they're really moving and shaking, aren't they?
Yeah, and they are really focused on reusability.
Oh, yeah, they love that.
For this flight, they're using the Super Heavy booster.
Right, which is like...
That's the massive first stage.
The big one, yeah.
Of the Starship launch system.
Right.
And it's got reused hardware in it.
Oh, cool.
Including a Raptor engine from a previous flight.
So for those of us who might not be, rocket scientists, what exactly is a Raptor engine?
Yeah, and why is it so important to SpaceX's strategy?
Well, the Raptor engine is this incredible piece of engineering, really. It's a methane-fueled engine that powers the Starship. And it's specifically designed for reliability. It's powerful, but most importantly...
Reusability.
Reusability, that's the key.
Yeah.
By reusing components like this engine, SpaceX is drastically driving down the cost of space travel, which... traditionally, that's been a major barrier to exploration and research.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, space travel has always been ridiculously expensive. So this reusability thing, it's not just about saving money, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about, opening up new possibilities for everyone.
Absolutely.
Scientists, entrepreneurs, all sorts of people.
Yeah, it could be a real game changer for our future in space. I mean, who knows what we could achieve if we can make space travel more affordable? The possibilities are endless.
That's a great point. And it really shows how these private companies like SpaceX are shaking things up in the space industry.
They're definitely shaking things up. But, as we mentioned earlier, they're not the only game in town anymore.
Right. We've got Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin.
Exactly. And you know what? Their New Glenn rocket is also scheduled to test today, January 13th. Isn't that wild?
That's like a cosmic coincidence.
It really is. And this test flight, it marks Blue Origin's official entry into the global launch services market. It's a market that right now is dominated by
SpaceX.
SpaceX. So It begs the question, are we seeing the start of a new billionaire space race?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, it's going to be fascinating to watch this rivalry unfold, right?
Absolutely, and to see how it impacts, space exploration as a whole.
Right, because it's not all sunshine and roses, is it?
Well, I mean, healthy competition can be a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Competition can drive innovation. Everyone's pushing each other to be better, to
Exactly.
go further, to achieve more.
And it can push the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly.
But, at the same time, it
Yeah.
could also create,
Unnecessary rivalries.
like egos and just...
Yeah, where it becomes more about, winning than about the bigger picture.
Right, exactly. And that could potentially hinder our progress.
And divert resources from where they're really needed. It's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, I suppose.
It is. And, it's not just about which companies are leading the charge, right? There's also this huge policy debate happening right now about whether the U.S. should focus on returning to the moon or, set our sights on Mars.
That's right. So it's not just a space race. It's a race to figure out where we're going in space.
Where are we going? What's the destination?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you maybe break down this debate for us a little bit? Like, what are the main arguments on each side?
Sure. So you've got Elon Musk, right? The mastermind behind SpaceX. He's been super vocal about wanting to establish a human colony on Mars.
Yeah, Mars is his big thing.
Big time. And this actually aligns with the agenda that President-elect Donald Trump has been pushing. He's expressed strong support for Mars missions. But then you have Congress. They seem to be pretty committed to NASA's Artemis program.
Which is all about the moon.
Yeah, the moon.
Yes.
Establishing a sustainable presence there.
Okay, so we have two very different visions here
Very different.
for the future of, American space exploration. A return to the moon, which some people see as like a stepping stone to Mars or beyond.
A testing ground, yeah.
Exactly. And then we have this bold leap to establish a permanent presence on Mars.
Bold but risky.
Risky, yeah. I mean, is it even possible to do both? Or are we going to have to pick one?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, funding is a big issue.
Yeah, always is.
There's political will, which way is the wind blowing?
Right.
And, of course, technological advancements. All of those are going to play a huge role in determining which path we choose.
And in all this excitement over Mars and the moon,
Yeah.
let's not forget about all the other cool missions that are happening.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot going on.
I mean, 2025 is shaping up to be a massive year for space.
It really is.
We've got the Artemis program, we have the Starship tests, Blue Origin entering the scene.
It's crazy.
And then there are programs like NASA's commercial lunar payload services,
Oh, right. Yeah.
which is supporting all sorts of companies like
Yeah.
Firefly Aerospace. They've got their own moon mission coming up.
Really? Wow.
It feels like we're on the cusp of something truly special here.
It does, doesn't it? Like a new era of discovery and advancement. I mean, who knows what we're going to find out there, what we're going to learn.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the current state of the space race, what would you say is the key takeaway for our listeners? What should they be paying attention to as we venture further into this new era of space exploration?
I think the most important takeaway is that the entire landscape of space exploration is changing, and it's changing fast.
Right.
Private companies are becoming major players. They're challenging the old ways of doing things and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And with all these ambitious goals.
Oh, yeah, like returning to the moon, going to Mars.
Right.
The next few years, I mean, they're going to be packed with exciting advancements and probably some unexpected twists and turns along the way.
Oh, absolutely. And one final thought-provoking question for our listeners to ponder.
Ooh, I like it.
Will this competition between companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin ultimately be a good thing or a bad thing for space exploration? Will it drive us forward?
Yeah.
Or will it hold us back?
That's a really interesting question. Because on the one hand, you could argue that competition fosters innovation, right? It pushes everyone to strive for excellence. But on the other hand...
It could lead to, a focus on profit over progress.
Exactly.
Cutting corners.
Yeah, and, maybe even sacrificing safety in the name of beating the competition. So it's a complex issue with no easy answers.
Yeah, it really makes you think.
It does. And it makes you wonder, what role do we want to play in all of this? As individuals, as a society, what kind of future do we want to create in space?
That's a great point. The future of space exploration is ultimately in our hands.
It is, and the choices we make today are going to shape the destiny of humanity among the stars.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive
It's been a pleasure.
into the incredible world of space exploration in 2025.
Until next time.
We'll see you out there in the cosmos.
Ad Astra.
Ad Astra.
Yeah.